Okay. So Mishlei 23, 6 through 8. Al tilcham es lechem ra ayin al tisav lamata mosav. Ki kamo sha'ar binafsho kenhu echol ushasei yomar lach v'libo bal imach. Pitcha achalta tekiena v'shichata devarecha haneimim. Okay. So this is another. I mentioned in the shiur description that this is going to feel similar to the first three pesukim in our parak. Similar scenario. Who wants to translate? I don't know who's able to talk. No one's here. Maybe I should have just given cheer from home. Okay, I guess no one's going to participate, so I will.
I guess don't eat the es lechem ra, the bad bread.
So this is the lechem of the ra ayin, the bread of the. So what is ra ayin?
Evil eye.
Evil eye is a literal translation, but in Chazal Hebrew, or not in Chazal Hebrew, I guess even in biblical Hebrew, it means something else.
Miserly?
Miser, yeah. So of the miser, right? So ayin. Oh, hey, Oren, you're here. I know. That's yeah. I guess if this were a train, they would have missed it. Don't eat the bread of the miser. Ayin ra means stingy. In Chazal Hebrew, and ayin tov or ayin yafa means generous. Okay, so don't eat the bread of the miser. The al tisav lamata mosav. What does that mean?
Don't lust for his delicacies.
Don't lust for his delicacies. Okay, we're going to go, with the same translation that we did for matamim in the previous one. Okay. Ki kamo sha'ar benafsho kenhu. So sha'ar here means to calculate or to reckon, which, I've asked this question like a zillion times. Why do we call a class a shiur? Because shiur means measure, but apparently, or not apparently, maybe it comes from a like a reasoning session, or a reckoning session. So that's its use here. Yeah. So because kamo sha'ar benafsho kenhu. Yeah, that's difficult to translate. Anyone want to take a stab? Oh, actually, it's funny. It puts it right over here. Yeah. But is that how you would translate it? Because as he calculated in his soul, thus so is he. So is he. Okay, that's a very, very vague thing. Okay, and then I sense that there should be a colon here. Echol ushasei yomar lach. There's quotation marks here.
Eat and drink, he will say to you.
Yes, eat and drink, he will say to you. Eat and drink, he will say to you. V'libo bal imach.
And his heart is not with him?
Yeah, but imach.
Oh, with you.
Yes, but his heart is not with you. And then it says the conclusion of the story. Pitra achalta tekiena. Pita, you should know from restaurants.
You will open? No.
Your bread?
Your bread. Thank you. Pita bread. Your bread.
You will spit out?
Yeah, your bread that you ate, I think you have to add the word that you ate, you will, so spit out you will vomit. Yeah, you will vomit, right? Ki means to vomit. V'shichata devarecha haneimim. So I think I put a translation here. Yeah, this is from like shaches, to ruin or to corrupt, to spoil. Okay, v'shichata devarecha haneimim.
And your words will.
Yeah. What is naim? Like na'ama, pleasant.
Like
yeah.
Tasty.
Pleasant words. Shichata.
You will destroy
you.
So past tense. You have
destroyed.
Yeah, destroyed. My sense is to say wasted. Okay, like you have like bal tashchis, right? Like don't waste. Yeah. Okay. All right, so let's see what the minimalist meforshim say. So Metzudas David says sha'ar milashon sha'ara umdan. So he also says that sha'ar means from estimation and or I guess calculation, estimation. Kamo mea sha'arim. Oh, I never knew that's what Me'ashari meant. I don't know if that's unanimous. That means Me'ashari 100 guesses, 100 calculations. Yeah. Tiki'ena is hu ha'chazara samaha lachutz. It's the returning of the food to the outside. With food vomit. V'chein kitzoa. Hello. We've got a second person here in person. Okay, and then milecha is ma'amarach, as your statements. Okay, your pleasant statements. Okay, words I think is fine. Ki'in mila bilashani. All right, I think words. I'm gonna keep it with that. Okay, Sadigon says al tochal milechem hakili al tisav l'mat mosav. Do not eat from the bread of a miser, and do not lust for his delicacies. Kihu kamo shesha'ar belibo kenhu. Okay, so that's slightly different. Kihu kimo shesha'ar belibo kenhu. It's a little more confusing than the Hebrew. I thought the Hebrew was confusing enough. Anyone want to try it? What does it add? He's adding. So the Hebrew says ki kamo sha'ar benafsho kenhu. This is kihu kamo shesha'ar belibo kenhu. Anyone want to try translating that?
Because he.
Yeah, go ahead. Because he
is like a evil in his heart.
How did you say? He is like what?
I would say Sha'ar was evil.
No, sha'ar is to estimate or to calculate or to reckon.
Because he is reckoned in his heart.
He is like he reckoned in his heart. And then what does the kenhu do?
I think it's like, the way I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
it's like the way that he's reckoning his heart, like so he will do.
Okay, so one way to do it is to say that, see, you could read the Hebrew like that, right? Because ki kamo shar benafsho kenhu. As he reckoned in his heart, thus he is. The fact that he adds in kihu kamo shar belibo, because he is like he reckoned in his heart, I get the sense that you're supposed to translate this as indeed he is, like as an aside or something like that, like an affirmation. Yomer lach echol u'shaseh v'libo ba'imach. Okay, he tells you eat and drink, but his heart is not with you.
Is that like it's going kamo and then it's saying not just kamo but king?
Yeah,
so he's like he reckoned his heart. No. Actually, he is.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know. Yeah, that I see how you could read it that way. I feel like that's a more difficult read, but it's possible. Yeah, I'm open to. I don't really know how to translate that. Okay, then v'im tochal pitra takiana. Okay, so one second. Yeah, all right. So let's go here. All right. V'im tochal pitra. And if you ate, if you will eat your bread. Takiana, you will vomit it. V'nimsa sheshichata einecha ha'arevim. Sorry, inyanecha ha'arevim. And consequently, you will have ruined your pleasant, inyan is always a hard word to translate, matters. Okay, let's just say that for now. So Kafach adds, v'hine devarecha inyanecha, your devarecha, v'hine devarecha inyanecha, v'akvana hifsadata v'kilkata. Did I type that right? Let me see in the kilkata. Ta'avuncha? What does that mean? Oh, te'avuncha, your appetite. Yeah, hold on a second here. The intent, so Kafach says, the intent is that you will have ruined and spoiled your appetite. Shehayisa ochel bo lachmecha ha'arev lahanascha. For you, that you ate your sweet bread for your benefit. Okay, not the most eloquent translation here, but let's go on. All right, let's see if the Targum is going to be something that we dwell on or not. Lo seichel im gavra debisha aine. Do not eat with a man whose eye is miserly or stingy. V'lo tisragig levishuloy. Do not lust for his cooked dishes. Metul de'ich tar'a rame, because de'ich tar'a rame hachenhu. What does that mean? Tar'a rama rame. All right. I'm not sure what this is on it. Hakin ram benafshe achel v'ishte amar lach v'libe nachil tzidach. Oh, you got it. Okay. V'lachma de'achelt mesivas le u'mechablas milach devasiman. Okay, I'm gonna ignore that. I'm gonna choose to ignore that. Executive decision. Okay. Our scroll says, do not eat the bread of the misli and do not lust for his delicacies, for as one who fantasizes in his soul. Okay, they say fantasizes. That's interesting. So is he. The loaf you have eaten, you will regurgitate, and you will have wasted your pleasant words. Okay, that's close enough to ours that we're going to delete it. Living nach, do not eat the bread of a miser, do not crave his delicacies. Crave is actually a good one for tava. For like a person who muses, what do you say? Lust. Okay, lust or crave. For like a person who muses, so that's also an activity of the mind, shiur. He tells you to eat and drink, but he is not being sincere with you. So how's he reading it? Oh, believable mach, right? His heart is not with you means he's not sincere. You will vomit the morsel you ate and have wasted your pleasant words. Okay, fine. So he's learning, by the way, pita means bread, but it also means peace. Like it says in this week's parsha, right? Pas lechem, which means a piece of bread. Yeah, right. So the difference between lechem is like the loaf, and then pas is the piece. So that's why he says, morsel you have wasted your pleasant words. Okay, that's similar enough. And then altar says, do not break bread with a stingy man, nor crave his delicacies. For like one who gauges in his mind, so is he. Eat and drink, he will say to you, but his heart is not with you. Your crust that you eat, you will vomit, and you will ruin your pleasant words. Okay, I think he means crust in the sense of like a piece of bread, not like a crust of bread, not like what you ask your mom to cut off of the sandwich. Okay, all right. So I think our translation is serviceable. Oh, by the way, I have to just a quick apology. I've been trying to get a hold of a plumber to fix a leak in the sink for like a week and a half now, and he said he was going to call me this morning. So if I get the call, I'm just going to take it because this is like ridiculous at this point. Okay, all right. So all right. So let's move this down.
Shiur is calculated.
Shiur is calculated according to Metzudas David to calculate or to estimate. Yeah, and we said that might be where the concept of a shiur comes from, is like a session of reasoning or reckoning, a reckoning session. Okay, questions?
Wow.
How is this like different than the other pasuk that we did?
Okay. General question. Okay, how is this different from 23 1 through 3? Okay, well, let's just quickly review that one, and that's a question obviously we're going to have to leave till the end because otherwise it's bad methodology. 23, maybe let's review that. Why is it bad methodology to deal with that question up front?
Because you're supposed to approach the pesukim like in their own framework.
Okay, so you have to approach the pesukim in their own framework. Otherwise, what would happen?
Well, we'd be biased, and then we'd also have to say that one was just repeating himself over and over again.
Okay, I think the bias is the one that is the bigger problem. Did I use? Hold on a second. There we go. Okay, I guess that's not how I usually type it. Okay, so the other one, right, is it's going to bias our reading of this one. So the other one said, "Ki seishav lilchem es moshel bin tavin es roshel levanecha." When you sit down to eat with a ruler, you should surely understand what is before you. V'samta sakin below echa, you should place a knife to your neck. In bal nefeshata, if you are a bal nefesh, whatever that means, a lustful person or a person who cares about his soul. Al tisav l'mat mosav v'hu lechem kazavim. Do not desire or lust for his delicacies because it is bread of falsehood. So lechem kazavim is an interesting thing. Just to, again, we're not going to go into that, but it is interesting that he calls the bread false in those pesukim, but here he calls the person insincere, right? That libo ba'imach, his heart is not with you, you know? Yeah. Okay. All right, so that would be the last question. What else?
What does it mean to calculate in the soul?
Yeah. What does it mean to shiur b'nafsho? And how do we read that entire half of the pasuk? That's just I know that's a translation question, but like it's just ki kamo shiur b'nafsho kenhu. It's just all the other things in the pasuk you can like read, and there's like some sense that comes into your mind. Here, it's just difficult. Yeah, go.
What?
Okay, so what is? So I agree that we can assume that it is an analogy, right? Unless it's a really bad conversation. What is the mashal or the nimshal of vomiting the bread that you ate. Yeah, I think,
What are the pleasant words?
yeah. What are the devarecha hani'imim?
Where do they come from also? And what are they like? It seems like there's a reason why you had it.
Yeah. And why did you say them?
And there's like no mention of them in the pasuk of like him speaking.
Right, that's true.
So is it on like the words in conversation, or is it just
Yeah,
words?
that is interesting. Right. Yeah. The pasuk doesn't mention doesn't mention you talking, right? It only mentions him talking, right? It says he says eat and drink.
What bread is it referring to in Chet?
Yes. Okay, right.
In Vav, you didn't eat the bread.
Well, okay, so in Vav, I mean, it's warning you not to eat the bread, and then it's telling you what would happen if you did eat the bread. But I think you can still ask the question.
They also get what is that bread?
Yeah. So what is this lechem? This lechem ra'ayin. Okay, and then I'm going to put in parentheses here because I don't think this is a necessary question, but why is this bread, referred to merely as a pita in pasuk ches? Okay, I think you can answer that just by saying that it's switching it up because it's stylistic reasons. But yeah, Yoshua.
So actually, what's a miser?
A miser is someone who is does not like spending money. Stingy, yeah, but it's stingy specific. So there's two types of stingy. There's stingy in terms of not wanting to give money, and then there is miserly, which is you don't want to spend money, and there's definitely an overlap.
Okay.
Yeah,
So this is like to address Chaim's question early on of how they're different, even though we're not really addressing it.
yeah,
Well, this is a complete opposite paradigm. Like in the other pasuk, it was like going to a king or something very wealthy.
right.
This is going to someone
Okay,
else.
that's interesting. Yeah, that's a good possibility.
Well, they could be wealthy.
I guess.
Oh,
Like, miser
this,
could be
yeah,
wealthy.
many misers in fact are wealthy because you kind of need to have a certain amount of money in order to be a miser, to like be reluctant to like yeah. Ezra.
How do pesukim Zayin and Ches explain pasuk Vav?
Yes. Okay. Good. So, how do pesukim Zayin through Ches explain pasuk Vav? Right. What is the reasoning here? Yeah, David.
What are the in pasuk of the lemat amot tav? What are
Yeah. Okay. So let us say, what are the mat amim? Okay, and then and what is their relationship to the lechem? Right. In other words, I think we could say that like lechem typically is going to be different than matamim because lechem is like the staple, is like the main thing, and then matamim are like the additional fancy things. So why is it talking about both of them? It didn't say that in the other one, did it? No, it's it did. It implied it, right? Is tilcham. Sorry, wait. Right. So it also, so it is interesting. It referred to that as lechem, but didn't it also seishiv lilchom, right? So it put it in a verb form, right? We sit down to eat bread with the moshel, and then talk about his matamim. So it seems like there's both of them there too.
Are there any other uses of sharp and off show?
Good question.
No idea what that means.
Yeah, let's actually just check that out here. First, I'm just going to check shiur, and just I don't even think that that's a very common word in biblical Hebrew. I mean, it means gate. That part is common. Oopsies, but shiur as calculating or reckoning. Right. Shiur. Let's see if it's going to give me all the gates or if it's just going to give me the calculations. Tarshim. Whoa. So you can tell from here, it is a late Hebrew word, right? Because it appears in Shmuel and Malachim. Shmuel once, Malachim twice. Why is it not registering in Mishlei though? That's a problem.
Shiur then?
Shiur, it would be the present tense, but I'm doing all forms, so you would think it would have this one, and then it is in. Okay, let's do something else. Let's search for shiur nefesh. I mean, that might be shi'er Also, this might not be a fruitful search for us to do now. If it's going to give us too many results that we have to sort through to see which one is the right one. Why is it not scrolling?
How did we translate in our pasuk?
Oh my! Hold on a second.
Calculated
this is so
in his
slow.
soul, which is unclear.
Yeah. Okay. In Tanakh. All right. So it looks like on the surface, this is the only case.
Okay, great.
Yeah. All right. So yeah. Okay. So it does not help us there. Do we ask about the vomit? What is the nimshal? Yeah. Yeah. What causes you? Sorry. What causes you to vomit? Yeah.
How did the other translations have sharp or not show again? Do you remember?
The other ones had.
Good.
Hold on. Let's look at. Hold on. I have to go back to the. Slow today. Did I do that? Oh, sorry, not 4 through 6, 6 through 8. Hello, system resources. Hello. The other ones said, for as one who fantasizes in his soul, so is he. For like a person who muses, and for like one who gauges in his mind, so is he. Yeah. Yeah, Ezra.
Is it fair to ask, how do we know who a miser is? Like, can you just tell, like a leader or like a rich person, you can usually like
Right.
tell
Yeah.
what you're actually with them?
I think it is fair to ask, but I don't know if our puzzle is answering that question. I think the puzzle is presuming that you can identify this person as a miser, and then that's how you'll know to apply the puzzle. So I don't think our puzzle is diagnosing him.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Fine.
If you can't, or if you're not supposed to do the, that's just supposed to eat his bread, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't helping that you can eat his lust after delicacy.
Yeah, that's a
Or
good
his
question.
lusting and eating different than.
Yeah. Can't you say Kal v'chomer mat amosav? Yeah. Okay.
Also, like, oh, the other thing we already asked that, right? In 7, like, how do you read because as he's got his whole soul is he like what is that really? I don't know. Like,
Right.
As opposed to what? Like he's calculated, but he's
Yeah.
not like that.
Yeah, it's just a completely incomprehensible phrase. Yeah, David.
The echol shutei that he's telling you.
Yeah,
Is that in relation to the food that he's giving you? Is that in relation to other things?
I think it's in relation to the food that he's giving you.
Particularly that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense to mention food and then say that he's telling you to eat some other completely unrelated thing, especially if you're being warned not to not eat. In other words, you're being warned not to eat, even though he's saying eat and drink.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but we can ask though, why is he telling you to eat and drink if he's lying, right? If his heart is not with you. So that is going to be. Hold on a second. This is going to be here, and then so if he is a miser, a miser, why is he telling you echol u'shaseh? Yeah.
Methodologically, when pesukim seem like they are backwards, like
Yeah.
eat and drink, he will say to you, or the whole phrase.
Yeah.
Is that something that you like should pick up on?
No, 2 reasons why. One is because that's how Hebrew works, is that you can say the what's the case here? Yeah. First of all, in English we say that also, right?
Good deal.
Eat
Yeah.
and drink, he said to you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
So
In
you
fact,
said-
editors will make you, if you start off all of your sentences with he said, blah, 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 he said, blah, 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 he said, blah, 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 it gets repetitive. So you say, blah, 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 he said, like, come on over, Yeshua said to Chaim, like it's a normal way of talking. That's number one. Number two, you also get, in Hebrew, you can do subject and then predicate, or predicate then subject. And then number three is sometimes for the sake of the meter, like the poetry or the rhyming or the tamim, then it'll say it in a different way. So I don't think we make much of that. Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, all right, I think we're ready to analyze. Yeah. Okay, so obviously we have to get the main idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like you're going to either have to ignore the first half of 7, get some sense of what the entire cluster of pesukim means, and then that will fill in what 7 means, or you'd have to plant your flag, take a stance on what the first half of 7 means, and then from there go outward.
That's what I think that's where I go.
I have a thought.
Yeah.
Me.
Uh-oh. Are we having
Who?
a problem again?
Who are you saying yeah to? Me?
Yes, Isaac.
Okay. So I think what happens is, or I think what the case is like, for whatever reason you are invited, like the miser invites you to a meal.
Yeah.
And what's saying is, no matter like how sincere he seems about like wanting to host you,
Yeah.
don't do it, because every like bite you take, he's gonna be like he's gonna be like, the thing that like is gonna be occupying his mind is how like you're wasting his money or something like that. So
Yeah.
like, so
Don't get hit by a car.
yeah, yeah. So no matter how like pleasant your words are, wherever you're trying to accomplish from this meal,
Okay.
it's just gonna go to waste.
Okay, I think that's a good starting point, right? Is that that because he's a miser, so the normal person, when he hosts and gives you food, he's giving it to you, right? But the miser who can't bring himself to spend, there's going to be resentment in every bite, right? Like everything so there's going to be this undercurrent of resentment towards you, and that is what is going to counteract whatever pleasant words you have. Okay, so I think that's a good part. Yeah.
I was thinking, insofar as the pleasant words, I was actually, when we first said it, I
Yeah.
was thinking that the reason you're at the miser's house is because somehow or another you use pleasant words to get yourself there. And like those are the words that you wasted, is like whether it's promises or like whatever, like that's how I was viewing the wasted words.
Uh-huh.
And
Okay.
again, that was why I was viewing that's how we got into the house.
Okay, yeah. So
Otherwise,
we
how else did you get there?
right, we did forget to ask that question, which is what is the scenario here, right? So Chaim's saying that he talked his way in. Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, so I think that's a possibility. But just to answer your other question about otherwise how did you get here? I mean, there are many ways that you can get here. Like the guy's wife could invite you, and like he's a miser, or you could find yourself like through some social convention,
Mhm.
like let's say like it's a thing in the society that you're at, that when friends go out to eat, then like this time I'll pay for it, the next time you pay for it, and then it's his turn. And I can think of many reasons. So it might not have to be a specific scenario. Yeah, you sure?
To build on what Isaac was saying, that,
Yeah.
like, the words would be wasted at the meal.
Yeah.
I think that's also to the point of like you will vomit the bread you're eating. It's like the exact counter to eating.
Uh-huh.
Like your words are gonna be wasted.
Yeah.
You can't say them, and the bread you're eating is gonna like. I don't know.
Right. All the stuff that you did with your mouth that you thought was going to be beneficial. Yeah, the reverse. Yeah.
Another thing to this approach of like what kind of saying, how did you get there? And like,
Yeah.
So I think there probably is a certain like a intimacy type of feel, like even if you do know this guy's a miser,
Yeah.
if you know this guy, I guess assuming that you know this guy is a miser,
Yeah.
that you start off with this like he's letting me over, like there must be something special about me, like he really likes me, so
Right.
now I get this special privilege of
Yeah.
being this guy.
Okay. So that's another important point, which is that this is warning you about taking his words at face value, or taking the scenario at face value. So you have the words of eat and drink, which you're not supposed to believe because he doesn't really want you to eat and drink. And then you're saying that there's something about the fact that he is providing for you that you interpret to be a certain message about your relationship with him or your status in his eyes. And that's also another lie. Yeah. Yes.
Could vishichata derecha ha'imim?
Yeah.
I feel like your reputation,
I don't think so. Right.
like the pleasant words that
Well,
are
okay.
about
Here's
you.
what you could say.
I've
Okay,
gone
I think you might be able to make a move with Sadigon for that, because he said, "Inyanecha ha'arevim," your pleasant matters, and inyan is like a way more expansive thing than words. Like you're going to ruin everything. Would be the way we would say it in English, right?
Yeah.
And everything could include like your reputation. Yeah, I think we should try to stick to the shot of words, just because.
Well, is it like your reputation is the words that are said about you?
Oh, I see.
So the pleasant words
okay.
that are said about
Yeah.
you.
So again, this is purely intuition. Like I can't refute what you're saying, but derech, your words makes it sound like you're the one saying them, as opposed to words about you. But I wouldn't rule it out. Yeah.
Yeah, just to take a stab at the beginning of 7.
Yeah. A stab with a knife that you're supposed to stick through your throat. No. Yeah.
Yeah, so one thing about so again, so you're going in a situation, you know he's a miser.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point? So who's supposed to talk to him?
Right.
And then like working on like a halfina that we were talking about of like, oh, I'm different, you know, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
If Shlomo was telling you, you know he's a miser, which means like that's like what he's set on.
Yeah.
And just because he's putting on like a mask and saying like, oh, please come and eat.
Yeah.
Like it's not real. Like meaning like what he's calculating in his soul is like what he's like really about. And like,
Yeah.
don't get like distracted by the facade.
Okay. All right. So I think this is an idea that we can pull out of here, regardless of what we say about the particulars, which is I think is a mistake we make all the time, is that you know someone's nature, right? Let's say you know someone's nature or their character, and then there's a scenario where everything about the scenario screams that they have turned over a new leaf or that they are not like that. And it's very easy to just say, oh, well, I guess I was wrong. Or like, I guess like this is an exception or whatever. Saying no, if there's a contradiction between the way that this person is acting and what you know to be their character, don't believe the act. It is possible for people to change, but that would manifest itself over long periods of time. Not like one day this guy invites you. It should be a red flag, basically.
Yeah. I think the second part of the puzzle just follows from that.
Yeah.
It's like, like this is what he's showing on the outside. He's saying eat and drink, but then he's I guess repeating.
Yeah.
That is, he's not really with you. He's just like, I don't know what he's at yet. But,
yeah. So I think.
Could we ask that as a question actually? Like, what's
sure.
the miser trying to get at here?
Yeah. I'm gonna add that to here. What is he getting at? Yeah.
That's difficult.
Yeah. I totally forgot about that part of the puzzle. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the one part we haven't explained. I just want to say one thing though, based on that approach, and based on what Yeshua said earlier, your bread you ate, you will vomit, and you will have wasted your words. We also need to explain not only what is the mashal, but why use a mashal. Like you could have said this in another way, where like he will resent you, and that's gonna affect the relationship going forward. This seems to say that the consequence is in the meal itself. And the thing is that you did eat the bread. Like you're not literally vomiting it up. So you got a meal out of it, and, so I understand the wasting of your words because you think that the words are going to make a difference here, but they're not. Yeah.
Like, what if he's just trying to make you dependent on him?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So that could be a possible answer to Chaim's question here is that, that he doesn't really want to give you this stuff, but he's kind of banking on the fact that you're going to be indebted to him or dependent on him in some way. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
For the start of 7, one of the translations that you showed earlier, had it as like just as one who fantasizes. So
that's how our school did it. Yeah.
Right. So I like that because then it's like just meaning somebody who fantasizes. That's what he's like. Meaning he's fantasizing about his money.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Right. I think that clears it up.
Okay.
He's constantly fantasizing about his money, but he's telling you eat and drink.
Okay. What do you mean?
In his head, that's what he's doing.
What do you mean by fantasizing about his money?
He's just thinking about his bank account. He's a miser. So he's just thinking like trying to not.
Okay. So I would say I think fantasize has the wrong connotation because fantasize is like, trying to think about it in a way that is more pleasurable than or enjoyable than not. Misers have what prevents them from spending is pain. The pain of spending. So I think you can still go with your translation by saying, as he assesses, in his mind, that is how he actually is. In other words, this guy is a miser, so he's constantly like counting how much this is going to cost him, calculating how much this is going to cost him, and that even though he's telling you eat and drink, right? Yeah, Isaac.
So I have 2 thoughts. One about the vomiting up the bread. I think one purpose of having a meal is to produce camaraderie.
Okay.
Because there's certain camaraderie from just eating together.
Yeah.
But with a miser who's resenting every bite you're taking, then
it's going to negate the camaraderie.
Yeah, exactly. It has like the reverse effect.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
I also have another thought.
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead, Isaac.
Okay. If I want to
respond, go ahead. You're gonna get hit by Kyle otherwise. Yeah. I don't want you to be distracted.
Actually, I'm going to be stopping walking in a second, so Klein can go first.
Go ahead, Chaim.
Okay. I was just saying on that. So then the nimshal is that so I guess in the mushal, by vomiting your meal, you don't gain the nutritional value.
Right.
In that sense, by I guess vomiting the camaraderie.
Yeah.
Like you just don't get the benefit of the camaraderie.
Right. I think there's actually there's two things in the vomiting, because vomiting means you don't get the nutrition, but also vomiting is extremely unpleasant, which negates the enjoyment of the meal itself. So there's so you're supposed to get three things out of this meal, right? One is a meal, right, of the food. One is the enjoyable experience of eating, and the other is the enjoyable experience of the camaraderie. And all three will be undermined. It's clear how the camaraderie will be negated. I think that you could argue that because there's going to be a cost to this meal, a hidden cost, because he's going to hold it against you, or you're going to be indebted to him in some way, then that's going to negate the fact that you got a free meal because it's not free, and in fact, now the more I talk about this, the more I'm inclined to say that's really what it's emphasizing with the vomit, meaning you are going to get the nutritional value of the meal. I don't think there's any way around that, but I do think the free meal and the pleasant camaraderie are going to both be negated. I think that's what is getting in the mushal. Yeah, Isaac.
Yeah. Okay. So the other thing I was thinking about was the don't desire his delicacies.
Yeah.
I think that there's an additional element to when you're having something that's not just basic meal. Let's say let's say you go out. Let's say he takes you out to eat.
Yeah.
Right. And you and you decide to get dessert.
Yeah.
Or even he's when the waiter's well, you want anything to drink, and he's just water, and you're oh, I'll have a soda,
Yeah.
every one of every little thing like that, he's gonna hold against you even more, because if he offers you bread and then you eat the bread, that's one thing, but then also if you're going above and beyond that in a way that's costing him more, then he's gonna hold that he's gonna extra resent you for that.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I also want to just add to that also regarding the question about the havamina thing. I think we work out that you need both havaminas? In other words, if it was just bread, you might think, okay, so he's a miser and he's only giving me the bare minimum. Mm-hmm. But if he's giving me delicacies, then clearly he's changed. Clearly, he's okay with giving delicacies. He wouldn't give. He might give bread if even if he resented it, But the fact that he's giving bread and delicacies means that this is not that he's freely giving, So Kamash Malan, no. And then I lost my train of thought. Yeah. Okay, let's in the remaining time today, let's look at Metzudas David and then just see. I have a feeling that this is going to be on track with whatever the meforshim say, but let's check it out. Okay, Metzudas David at the bottom of the first page, bottom right. Al tilcham, al tochal lechem. Okay, tilcham does not mean to wage war; it means to eat bread. Well, the Tosefes beer piresh v'amar es lechem. Wait, am I reading the right place? Yeah, I am, right? Mm-hmm. And to explain it more, it says es lechem v'gomer. Is he trying to? He might. Oh, I see. Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even realize he used a double lashon. Al tilcham es lechem ayin ra. Yeah. Okay, fine. All right. Oh, I know why. Because lilchom in the other one. Okay, lechem can mean bread or food, right? So. No, never mind. No. Yeah, I think it's saying al tilcham es lechem means that it is talking specifically about bread, not food. Bare minimum. Yeah, bare minimum, a staple, whatever you want to say bread signifies. Okay. Next, Zion. Kmo sha'ar, kmo hamashayir ba'atzmo davar ma. Just as someone who reckons, guesses, calculates to himself something. Mamash. Oh, that's where our soul is getting fantasizes, that there's no substance in it. Meaning this is like a musing, right? This is just like you're just as someone who like daydreams to himself, and there's no substance in the daydream. It's just thoughts. Kain hamachil hazeh. So too is this guy who's feeding you. Af ki yomar lach echol shaseh. Even though he is telling you eat and drink, his heart is not with you. He does not really want you to eat. So it's saying, that if you are, okay, here's the analogy, okay? Imagine right now, okay, throwing a huge party for all your friends and like having a lot of great food and drink and stuff like that, okay? You got it? Okay, you know that you're not actually going to do that, right? Okay, well maybe you, but so you know that you're not actually doing that, and you recognize very clearly that it's just a daydream. That's how you should view this guy. That's the strategy that you should employ. That for just as for you, the thought bubble version of the meal is total fantasy. This guy is actually spending money on you, but it's total fantasy. He doesn't actually want you to eat. Right, it's all like he's doing it for some other reason. Yeah.
The one does it say in the pasuk that he says?
Because he does say it to you, eat and drink, but he doesn't actually mean it. Right.
That's what it means by his heart is not with you.
Yeah, right. He doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't really want you to eat. Yeah, yeah. And by the way, we have to remember also. I think that it is easy. I don't know if people other than Isaac are also thinking about the example of the restaurant, but like in the olden days. Right. I mean, this is even true now, but in the olden days, if this guy invites you to his house and prepares a big meal and he says, eat. So he doesn't want you to eat. So what does he actually want vis-a-vis this food?
Status of happiness.
Oh, sorry. Let me clarify. What's going to happen to this food if things go according to this guy's plans? No. Chas v'shalom. He's going to eat it. Right. Right. You don't just throw out food, especially if you're a miser. Yeah, right. But you're going to save it and eat it later on, right? So in other words, like, yeah, you're not just going to throw it. I mean, this us wasteful Americans, first world, we think you're going to throw it out. Yeah. Yeah. But no, so that's what I'm saying. Like in a restaurant, I think that the restaurant example is not really doesn't really fully capture this, is that in the restaurant example, then it most of the time does get thrown out, and even if it doesn't, the guy is not going to take your takeout, like your leftovers, right? But here he will, because it's at his house. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then in Ches, he says, Pitra hapas shenasan lecha asher achalta, the piece of bread that he gave you to eat, that you ate, sofa tekiana megufecha, you will ultimately vomit it out from your body. Ki hibit alecha be'in ra'ah, he will glare at you with an evil eye, with a stingy eye at the time when you're eating. V'hine, he'll give you the stink eye. Hine shichata deverecha haneimim, and you will have wasted your pleasant words. Asher dibarta imo rakos, you spoke with him gently, or softly. The hechazakto tova, and you have presumed good of him. The chanus al ha'achila, and the chanosa al ha'achila, and yeah, it is from Chaim. I'm just trying to think what the verb form is. Chanosa al ha'achila. You have found favor in the eating. You have been favorable about the eating. Kila mafreya haybuchina. But in retrospect, it was for nothing. Ahoil v'taki hamalcha, because you're going to vomit out the food. Okay, so I don't think this is contrary to the way that we were taking it. So let's just try to get like a nice rounded idea. So I think I want to go with what I was saying earlier, that it seems like this puzzle is specifically about a scenario where we're eating with a miser. And the pesukim are about that, but I think you can extrapolate about other cases where people are acting contrary to what they seem. In other words, that's like the premise of this thing, which is this guy, that this guy's a miser. Suddenly, for whatever reason, he is offering you all this food. And I think it could be many reasons. Again, it could be that his wife wants him to. It could be that he thinks he's going to get a deal out of you. It could be any number of reasons, and the pasuk is not talking about that. It's just saying you should be aware that this is lechem kozavim. I mean, it really should call it lechem kozavim. This is false bread. He does not want you to eat. You daydreaming about giving someone food is no different than what he's doing here. He doesn't want you to eat at all. He's being insincere. And I think that all of the usual things that you can expect from the meal, which is that it's a free meal and that you're going to like strengthen your camaraderie, are going to be negated because it's not free. It's going to have hidden costs, whether in him expecting something tangible from you or in the resentment. That's a liability. And you will have wasted your words, because whatever goodwill you're trying to promote through your eating, it's not going to come about because he's got that undercurrent of resentment. And so this is the same thing with people trying to appeal to you in other ways that are against their nature. Like we'll give another example, not with a miser, just to drive the idea home.
I was kind of thinking of like the boss kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where like he invites you and he speaks nicely with you. He's like, oh, I'm gonna give you a raise or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I just need you to fire this guy or whatever, or whatever it is. It's like,
yeah.
Obviously going to the mob boss too thing.
Yeah. I figured that's where the accent came from. Yeah.
But something along those lines where like the guy is like like blows up at his assistant, right?
Yeah.
Now he like wants to make you his assistant, and I'll be different than the last one.
Yeah.
I won't get thrown out the window. And,
Yeah.
And you kind of get like suckered into like this deal where like now, you're, I don't know. I think I lost that.
Yeah. You triggered a line of. You have another example or?
No, I just have a question.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
I don't understand why this is so bad. Maybe I'm just not getting it. To me, it seems like at most it's just a net zero.
Yeah. So
Like, I just won't get benefit. Okay, fine.
right. So
Why
the
is
guy
that
is going to
bad?
hold it against you. That's really and here's the funny thing about like the you cost me money. That grudge can last for an extremely long time. Like you caused me to lose money, especially in like that's true for anybody. But like for a guy who's a miser and his whole orientation towards money is to not spend it, like it's gonna poison the relationship. Yeah,
And
you're
also because he's telling you to eat, like it would just drive his frustration even higher. Like he has to tell you for some reason to eat and drink.
Yeah,
He doesn't want you to, and then you do. It's like how dare you.
exactly. And here's the funny thing also, because this guy is just fantasizing, he really on some level expects you to not eat. So when you do eat, he's gonna like think that that's a reflection of your bad character. He's not gonna say like, oh, but I told him you can eat. He's gonna be, what is this guy doing? Like mooching off of me. So it is gonna have a cost. Yeah. The only exception to this, I think, would be if you're never gonna interact with the person again, then maybe this is fine, because then you do just get the free meal. But I think that's something you shouldn't count on.
I'm assuming if you know that he's a miser, you've interacted with him prior.
That's also true, probably. Yeah. There's a history. Yeah.
What's the difference between don't eat and like don't lust?
I think it's just repeating the same thing in different words, or it is.
It sounds like one's more extreme.
Yeah. The other thing, I think the reason why also is you don't have taiva for bread. I mean, I know if it's really good bread you do, but like there's not eating the basic thing, and then even if he gives you all of this these delicacies and your cravings are awakened, don't.
It's saying like don't eat it and don't even want to eat it.
No, it's saying don't crave the delicacies.
Right, I know what I'm saying.
Right.
Effectively, that's saying.
Okay, yeah, you can say that also, right? Yeah.
So like, what is that?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
So you could say that like in a broader sense.
Yeah.
Right. Eating is like what's happening right now. Like
Yeah.
partaking in this conversation, taking in this meal, whatever it is. And like that's the here and now. That's like not something that's like so fancy.
Yeah.
But when he's like in maybe in another way of like how the situation's gonna play out, is like he's kind of filling your head with fantasies, right? He's filling your head with delicacies.
Yeah.
Right? Which automatically are gonna be, fantasy.
Yeah.
And he's saying, don't lust after those ideas. He's saying, oh yeah, we're gonna have big plans, we're gonna whatever. He's trying to like make this like fake camaraderie, but because he just wants to get something out of you.
You could say that, but it is saying don't lust for his delicacies. I think it's more plain shot is to go Orn's route and just say don't even desire them, because the desire is going to lead you to start warping and distorting the situation, and convincing yourself that he really does want to give you stuff. So like, don't even allow yourself to like desire. If there's anything that you can do to prevent the desire, like let's say the we'll go with the restaurant example. Let's say the guy does invite you to a meal. You can say, let's just meet for coffee instead. Because once you're at the meal and he's like putting all this food in front of you, the temptation is going to be too great to like resist. Yeah.
Then you're $100 in the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's about what you said.
Yeah.
About at least you get a meal out of it.
Yeah.
I think there are other pesukim about how like unpleasant company can like totally ruin a meal.
Right.
And so if he's gonna be like glaring at you with every bite you take, I think you might like rather have not eaten.
Right.
Because it's just gonna be so unpleasant.
Yeah. Okay, so let's stop for today. Tomorrow, check out other meforshim, and I think it's going to be also fun to think about the derech nistar for this one.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if the last pasuk was the last pasuk also about bread or not? No, that was about wealth.
What do you mean by that?
By what? That's the Meiri is a hidden approach, which is taking it as an allegory for perfection.
Okay.
Yeah. We do that a lot. Yeah, I guess you're not you don't always see it. Yeah.
No, when I hear the word nistar, it's in relation to like Kabbalah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, we should have pranked him. Yeah. All right. Have a good day.